All right, this is Chazz Palminteri. It's Monday, and it's 11 o'clock. We got a new episode. I'm so excited for this episode. You know how I get when I get to play with the girls. Neighborhood Logic. We have...
Say it one more time. Neighborhood
Logic. The great actor, Kathrine Narducci, the great comedian. Yes, she is. Tara Cannistraci. Did I say it right?
Tracy. We've been practicing for 5 years now. You got it.
I got it, right?
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Cannistraci.
No, he said Cannistraci.
All right, you know what? I got away with it. Would you be quiet?
Like, in other words, concentrate, Cannistraci on that.
All right.
Great comedian,
on your
great
on your
actor.
question.
You got to see them. All right. But before I do that, I have to say, you hear me okay with this mic? Wait, is okay. All right, the one-man show, ChazzPalminteri.net. You got to go to it. Just the sold-out shows in Arkansas, Houston, San Antonio. It was great. I'm going to be, April 1st, I'm going to be in Atlantic City at the Ovation Hall Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. That's April 1st. April 23rd, I'm going to be in Englewood, New Jersey at the Bergen Pack, Englewood, New Jersey. And here we are, June 4th, at the Richfield Playhouse in Richfield, Connecticut. That's right over here. I love it. And, of course, my favorite place, June 11th, I'm going to be back at the Huntington, New York, at the Paramount Theater. That you got to come and see, because that's always a great show. You're out on Long Island, you got to come to that place. They got a bar downstairs, second to none. It's incredible. The Ovation, what is the name of that room? I forgot. But it's a great room. Okay, September 16th, Millville, New Jersey, at the Lavoie Theater. Back there by popular demand. Okay, September 22nd, Cincinnati, Ohio, at the Taft Theater. And, of course, in October, at the Akron, Ohio, E.J. Thomas Hall. September 20th, Reading, Pennsylvania, at Sander Performing Arts Center. September 21st, Glenside, PA, Keswick Theater, and November 5th, I'm at the Des Plaines, Illinois, the Des Plaines Theater. But I'm going to have a lot of dates, more dates coming in between that. And but I'm really excited to be with the girls. Kathrine, we missed you. We haven't done Neighborhood Logic in a while because Tara's been busy on the road. Kathrine's been busy doing a movie. But I'll start with you, Kathrine. The movie you did was with?
With Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Do you know him?
I might a little bit.
No one has played his wife more than you have.
A little bit.
little
That's
bit.
my worst imitation of him. Yeah, it's with Rob De Niro. I play his wife, Deborah Messing, who I've grown to love, also plays his wife. Barry Levinson directed it, and we filmed it in Ohio, and I was there during the explosion.
No shit.
Oh, you
Yeah,
were?
shit.
I didn't know that.
I didn't realize
Did you
that.
smell it? Did you?
No, but honestly, it was the explosion happened in Palestine, Ohio. God bless those people.
Really?
Tragedy, but I was in Cincinnati, so it's about, I guess, a 2.5 hour drive from there. But my throat and nose were burning. I don't care what anybody says. I think by like 4 days after the explosion, it started where a lot of people were getting irritation.
Really?
Oh
Yeah, a
my
little bit,
God.
yeah. I mean, there is something called wind, and it takes things.
So you're saying that it's not safe there?
I don't think it's safe in Palestine, but I don't know about Cleveland and Cincinnati. I think it's safe,
But right in that area,
I don't think it's
somebody
safe.
said they threw a rock in the river, and then all kinds of colors came.
Oh yeah, well, there's videos all over TikTok with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Insanity.
Wow. And how did you enjoy working on the movie?
Oh my God, there's nothing like working with Barry and Bob. I worked with them on Wizard of Lies, the Bernie Madoff movie
Yes.
on HBO, and that was incredible. But this time it was a lot more. I had a lot more to do, and working with Barry and Bob is a gift from the acting gods. Really.
Great.
It really is. And you're challenged every day that you
Right.
show up on set. and you have to be on your A game, and they don't stick to the script a lot of times. You do a lot of improvising.
What's the
You
name of the-
stick to the story,
Right.
but you don't stick word for word.
Right. What is
word
the name
for
of the
word.
movie?
It's called Alto Nights.
Say it again.
Alto
Alto
Nights.
Nights.
Oh,
Wow.
I thought it was
It
Wise
was called
Guys.
Wise
Yeah,
Guys,
that's what
but
I
now
thought.
it's called Alto Nights.
And
That was the social club that they hung out
And when you
at.
say Deborah and you both played his wife, so he's playing more than one person, or is he playing different?
He's playing two different people. He's playing Vito Genovese and he's playing Frank Costello. Tour de force.
Tour de Force.
Tour de force.
Who? He's the only.
I always like saying that. Tour de force.
He's the only man I know, Bob De Niro. No one could sit in makeup. No one could sit in makeup.
City Morgue, you kill him, we chill him. How can I help you?
Let me get off that phone. Nobody
Yeah.
could sit in makeup like he can. I mean, I never met anybody.
Patience.
Patience? Never. Never met anybody who could sit in makeup like this man. I mean, a quick thing. When we were in London, I was with Bob in London when he was doing
Frankenstein?
Frankenstein. The first time I'm not kidding you. The first time he put on the suit, I mean the whole suit, I think Bob stayed in the chair 16 hours.
What?
16 hours of makeup.
16?
16. Yes.
How do you
16.
go to work after
you sleep?
16 hours?
Well, he would put it on, and he would only work for 4 hours. Then they take the next day off, and then he'd come back, put the makeup on. But he only had to do that.
Grueling.
He only had to do that like 8 days, the full makeup, the full thing. Then the rest, I think his usual time. Bob told me they got it down. I could be wrong. I think to 10 hours, 8 hours, like.
Can
that.
you sleep during it? Yeah, I mean you have to sleep.
You can't sleep, but you can't go to the bathroom when you got the makeup on. Well, when he had the full bodysuit, he couldn't. It was tough. It was
That's
tough.
Wow.
That's
yeah.
intense.
So anyway,
I had an
Just
incredible
thinking about it.
you had a great experience. And Tara,
Yes.
and you've been all over the place.
I
You've
have.
been in Canada.
Canada, Florida, Rhode Island, Niagara, the New York side. It's been good. I've had a good run. I'm home for a little while now till the end of April.
Wow. So
it's
if
been a good
anybody
run.
wants to come and see you where you're working,
Everything, yeah. Tara jokes.
Tara
everywhere.
Jokes, and this one here, she's in every movie right now.
Oh, and right now I'm also on Godfather of Harlem.
I forgot
We
that.
both did that.
We both did that, I know. And I retired, and my character retired.
You went to college.
I went to college.
We all know what college
Yes,
means.
we all
I
went to
had so
college.
many uncles who went to college.
I actually got to see Tara perform with Joey Diaz. And where was that? The Sony Theater?
Sony Hall. You saw us at Sony
I got to
Hall.
tell you, I've seen you perform before, and it was good. But this was really on your A game. And how many people were in that hall?
And Sony was about 600, I think, 6 and change.
I
maybe.
didn't see you ever perform in front of a
Right.
group like
No,
that.
not
It
that
was
big.
amazing to watch. I was very impressed.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I took a ton of video and pictures.
Yeah, very impressed.
But this
really.
is how supportive Kathrine. She comes to like the hole in the wall city spots when I'm just working out jokes. She comes for
Right.
all the little shows.
I like going
Yeah,
to
I
that.
mean, as all
then
comics,
to
as
see
all
that, yeah.
comics, right? I mean, I'm not a comic, but as a comic, you have to work your jokes out in small
Everywhere.
places.
Yeah. You have to get
The
up all
biggest
time.
comic does that,
You have to
right?
get up all the time. Any comic will tell you that, especially if you're a new comic.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we start with the questions from Neighborhood Logic, I think this is a good question. Somebody wrote this in. I don't have to go to it now, but they wanted to know: did you see Chris Rock's special?
I did.
Did you see Chris Rock's
I
special?
I
saw-
just watched it last night.
I saw the parts when he was talking about Will Smith.
Okay, well, I want you guys.
This is a good subject because
Yeah.
I'm all for this subject.
Yeah. What is your? We'll start with you, Kathrine. What is your opinion about how we talked about it?
You know, in all fairness, honestly, I loved Will Smith
Yeah.
and I love Chris Rock. I love both of them.
Right.
That happened. We all know what happened.
Right.
I thought it was really smart of Chris Rock not to talk about it and then turn around and put it in his art.
Yes.
To me, that
Yes.
is, you know, painters put it in their
Yeah,
art,
yeah.
their pain, their happiness, their everything. We as artists take whatever's going on in our life,
Right.
and we put it into our art. Actor, musicians, every artist puts it in their work. If the work is authentic, that's what you're going to do.
Right.
Okay, your real live events, your real true
Right.
traumas. You are going to do that, and then people connect to that real raw authenticity,
Right.
which only you can bring because you're taking real life events that only happen to you, and then that's it,
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
And I think that Chris Rock to do that was very smart.
Yeah.
I saw it. I thought, wow, this is really smart. I thought it was good, and I have nothing really bad to say about his act, but I did feel it was a little hard at certain moments.
You could understand why.
Yes, I can understand
Holding
why.
it in
But
for.
you
thought
only
of-
saw, but again, you only saw clips. You didn't see the whole
But I
thing.
saw one part of the clip where I think
You sent it to me, yeah.
Yeah, no, not even that one. I saw one part of the clip where he talked about, I think he said something about Will Smith's kids.
No, just that her son's friend. It was her son's friend.
It was her
who she was
son's-
with.
I know that
facts.
you know,
That's a fact.
Facts.
what can be, that's facts and that's out.
And they put it out there.
Listen, that's facts. It's out in
Will
the
Smith
public.
and Jada Pinkett Smith put that out there. They talked about it themselves. They were not. It wasn't personal. or
Right, and
private.
he says that, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's these are facts.
Right.
But when you hear it the way he presented it, you know, you F the daughter's, you know, the son's friend,
friend.
and then go. I just felt like
It was too
had an
matter of fact.
uncomfortable feeling when he said that about
yeah.
the kid's friend,
Right.
because you're affecting the kid now. The kid will see this. It kind of bothered me, but I still, in a way, understand it. I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
it all and not be on one-sided. I'm trying
Right.
to.
I think the
look at-
parents affected the kid
How about
by
you?
putting it out there. I think they should own. They put their business out there about their son's friend.
why
They
would
put
they
it out
do
there,
that?
not Chris Rock. I think when I first saw just
Good
clips, like
point.
you sent me clips, and I was like, "Oh, this just seems harsh and matter of fact." Like just from the clip that people were posting, like it just seemed like he said the sentence. But then when I watched the special and I saw how the setup to it and how then the punchline was delivered, and you know, he was a little more preachy in certain ways, but then he rewarded you with like
Yeah.
it being funny at the end.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I had a joke that I still do, and I say something, and it's you know, it's still relevant because there's now Chris Rock came out with something, but I'm like, you know, Will Smith said, you know, take my wife's name out your mouth, and I say, you know, you can put whatever you want in her mouth. And then I
Yeah,
go,
but that's
ask
still-
her son, and I
that's
say, ask
still-
her son's friends, and I make that
Oh,
direct.
see, the add-on at the end is cringy for me.
Right.
But you could ask the first part is okay because it's to do with just the wife.
Right.
But you want to know something? I guess
But the son's he's not a kid.
I guess
No.
also
He wasn't a pedophile.
We have to go back to, if you're feeling on the fence about the kids stuff like I am, we have to go back to the night he was smacked in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
And what was his humiliation?
Not
But it
even
also had nothing to do with the kids. See, I could go
But
back to
it's-
that as a mother.
Yeah,
You're
but
not a mother.
Right, no, 100%. But as a mother, would you put that out there that you slept with one of your Nikki's friends, your son's friends?
No,
Would you ever put that out publicly? They did
that would never happen, period.
Okay, but she did.
I know.
And she put it out there publicly.
Yeah, like,
not
whoa.
Chris.
Not
Chris
Chris.
didn't put anything out publicly. That was the thing. He's not the first comedian. Listen, that's what we do. That's art. We see things and we talk about it. You're gonna put it out there, it's up for grabs. Now, do I think that there are some people that deliver things that are just not funny? Like when I see certain things, I go, you're just looking for a clap or an applause. That's different than a laugh. But the way he delivered it and the way he
Right.
wrote it deserved the laugh.
And I
that
got
he
to
got.
tell you, you could see, even a year later, that he was bothered by it. You could see.
Oh, it was horrible.
You know, it's hurtful to watch. It was comedy, but I was like, this is something in his psyche that will never leave him. It was
No,
like
no, it
hard
bothered
to
him.
watch, to watch because he wasn't just. It was a retaliation act.
Yeah, well,
It was
he
a
was
retaliation
saying,
act,
okay, I
and we
never
know
spoke,
that.
No, it was building up as a man, and I know Chris pretty well. I mean, I did a movie with him, and I spent a lot of time with him, and he's absolutely incredible, talented.
Yeah,
and,
I love him.
and a great guy, and
love
really
him.
a good heart. He's got a great heart.
Yes.
He's got a thoughtful heart.
Yes.
What he says at the end, he was right. You could tell he was raised with good parents.
Right.
He was. You could see that.
No, you could see it
And
from a
when
mile away.
And when he said, you know, I could tell you get smacked on on worldwide stage
Yes.
with your children watching
Your mother.
your mother, your wife, your
Yes.
ex-wife at the time,
Your brother.
your family. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That is hurtful.
Right.
Hurtful.
Yeah.
And for him to act the way he
You
did.
can't get that back.
No.
Can't get that
Can't
back.
erase that.
Because I don't care. You know what? Everybody loses in this. Actually, a little. Nobody really wins in this, because Will Smith, who was absolutely great in King Richard, and he deserved to win the award. I thought he was great in it.
And he was a
okay?
great motivational speaker,
And
too.
he was a great motivational speaker, and everybody loved Will Smith.
I say that.
Everybody. So for him to do this was so.
But aren't we all
crazy.
human and make mistakes?
Yes, we are. But you know
That
what?
one happened to be caught on camera. And but let me just say one thing. I want to back up to Chris Rock. I love Chris Rock, and I think that what he did is brilliant, and he used it in his art, and I want to give him props for that.
Right.
But I could feel two things going on at one time: love him, think it's great, and also feel bad for Will. I have two things going on.
Well, I'm a
torn.
street guy. I'm a neighborhood
Right.
guy. You know, you put it out there. You do this to me. You're gonna have to.
100%.
You gotta deal
Yeah.
with it. You put it to me. I'm sorry. I gotta
Right.
put it to you
Yeah.
now. I know that's maybe not right.
No, it's
It's
100%
not-
right to me.
It's not
I'm
the
a neighborhood
Christian
girl.
thing to do. Turn the other cheek, they say.
Yeah.
But you know what? You smack me on top. First of all,
It is the Christian thing to do. He
you know,
didn't smack him back.
Yes.
He
well,
didn't smack him back.
Nobody could even argue, not even Will
Yeah,
Smith, that he
right.
didn't handle that like a pro.
Right.
He handled it like a pro. But you know what? See, a street thing tells me, and Chris said it. He said, of all the people to smack, you smack me?
Could I ask
Me?
you, what would
I
you
was
do
on-
if he smacked you?
Oh no, I couldn't handle it like Chris did.
What do you think you would have done? Hit him back or walked off the stage? What would you have done?
You know what?
Instinct.
It's hard to say that.
Yeah.
My gut, because I'm a businessman, and I might have cut him bad with words, and say, you know what? When I see you, we're gonna meet. We're gonna talk. As soon as we get off this, when the camera's not on us, we're gonna get off this right now. And I don't want to kick your ass in front of everybody, in front of 20 million people. But I'm going to kick your ass in just about another 10 minutes. So you stay right there. I might have said that, but my street might have came out,
Instant reaction.
and I might have just clocked him. First of all, he wouldn't have got that. You know, Chris never expected it. You come up to
was
me like that,
shocking, man.
I'm backing up a little bit. I'm putting my hands up, and if I have to drop you, I'm going to drop you.
And he didn't back up.
And Chris did
well,
not.
he didn't.
influence-
Did you really
Chris-
think that he was going to hit
Chris
you?
never thought he would hit him.
Did he
Never.
really think he was going to hit him? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference. And plus, Will Smith, comedically, he's an excellent comedic actor,
Right.
great timing. You don't know if he was coming up there to make part of a joke.
Right.
And you're also live. You're in the moment, but you're not in the moment. You're hosting the Academy Awards.
I thought that he was going to do something funny, like
Maybe, right.
You know what?
But
I would have liked to see him get up there and smack The Rock instead of Chris Rock. If that was The Rock, smack The Rock, and then I
Excellent
got
point.
more respect for
I
him.
don't think that would have happened.
Yeah, no, because you hit a guy, and for you to slap a guy, I'm a street guy, I say it again. For you to slap a guy.
You think a punch would have been better?
a slap is
Because
worse.
they call it a bitch slap.
Yeah, you slap a guy, then you turn your back on him and walk away. That means you know you're not getting hit back. You know it, hereditary.
Right.
You know it. You slap a guy and turn around and walk away.
Casually walk away.
Casually, with that attitude.
Yeah.
Well, I love you, but boy, you made a bad
Ugh,
decision.
it was
And then, know
disgusting.
what was worse? Keep your wife's name out of your motherfucker.
Yeah, cursing.
You can't do that. My God, the entitlement you're feeling here.
Wait, did you even hear the part that Chris said in his special that she was annoyed that this was a deep-rooted issue when her husband wasn't nominated for his role in Concussion?
Right.
Chris Rock was hosting the Academy Awards then, and she was mad that Chris Rock still hosted the Academy Awards when her husband was acknowledged. How more
Right.
How much more is this about me? She makes it like she was making it a black issue, that it was, is that he got shunned because
Right.
of his color.
Right.
So then I'm sorry, then Chris Rock shouldn't host the Academy. Like,
Chris Rock is the host. He's black.
Right. It was, but so I think the implication
Right.
there, from what I gathered, and I didn't know about this prior, was that she felt shunned from him before, so this was another issue. Like her level, this is my biggest pet peeve with people, and I've said this to you in personal conversations, entitlement. I am owed. My husband is owed. I am owed. You should do this because my husband didn't get it. Let me tell you something. That's not the way the world works.
No.
Her level of entitlement is on another level. It makes her hateable. It makes people who, even if they didn't love Chris Rock before this, are now watching Chris Rock because that's how detestable she is to people.
I think they like Chris Rock the way he reacted. It was a class.
Yeah,
nobody can
Nobody
argue
could
that.
do what Chris
Nobody.
said. Nobody.
That was like
Class act.
superhuman
Superhuman.
class that and contained himself
Superhuman.
like a gentleman.
And he said, I was raised by good parents. And he is. You could tell. Mm-hmm. He's a good man. I like him a lot. He's a good-hearted person. He cares about people. He's a good person.
How?
So, and you know, believe me, I didn't know. I met Will a couple of times. Only, hi, how are you? Didn't know him well, but always liked him. Always liked his movies. Always, I thought he was a class guy.
Yeah.
And look, did he screw up? Yeah, but boy, I don't know how you're going to come back from that one. That was a big one. But you know what?
that
We
was
all
a big
forgive
one.
people.
Yeah, we do.
So, but I feel for Chris.
Do we
I
all?
can't believe we just
Do we all?
we got on a rant there.
No, but it was that, you know, it was topical and it was relevant and
Yeah.
it's about art and it's about crossing lines and it was R-rated because let
It
me
was
tell you
R-rated,
something,
you're
when you're
right.
sleeping with some, you know, your son's friend, which you said, your instant reaction goes, you're not a mother. I go, well, would you do it? Oh, I would never. That wouldn't even happen. That wouldn't even be a scenario. What she did.
Right. I mean, should we take your questions here now? Or-
I think that this is going in a good direction.
I think it's going. No, I think this is. I think.
Let me ask you this question about his special. The thing that's stirring up the most controversy is the joke that he made about emancipation.
Oh, could I hear it?
So the joke about emancipation was pretty much Chris Rock said, the only reason I watch Emancipation is to see Will Smith get beat.
So yeah, whipped.
Get whipped. Sorry.
Now, in reference to it now. So they're, but it's, so now they're saying what?
They're saying it's racist.
A racist,
He's a
catering-
black man.
It's also a part of a movie that there was the part.
Chris is a black man.
He's not highlighting emancipation. He's not. I'm sorry. You know, slavery. He's not. He's doing it as a reference to. I was just happy to watch him get beat up.
Yeah.
He's not even talking about the content.
Well,
or
that's
the
almost like
context
saying
of
that's
the
almost
movie.
like saying, you know, if you were mad at De Niro, the only reason I watch Raging Bull is to watch him get beat
Yeah.
up.
Right.
That's
Is
it.
that going to be considered a racist?
Well,
remark?
because it's about
Yeah.
slavery.
I mean,
because
you-
it's a movie about slavery.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
You
you're
think
right.
But it's
Chris
not-
Rock was anything? You think he was racist about?
Oh,
you think
come
he was
on.
thinking that in his head?
It's not even
I mean,
in the
come on.
context. It's a great joke.
It's a great joke.
Because you're referencing watching Will Smith get beat up where he couldn't do it. That's all that the joke is. If people want to be triggered and offended by everything, and that's
I got to tell
a
you,
whole
I
other
got to
level.
tell you, especially and you, Tara Moore, because obviously you're
Mm-hmm.
a comedian. Doesn't this thing about sensitivity and selective outrage,
Mm-hmm.
like Chris said? I mean, what you're doing is you're stopping art. You're stopping great comedy, man.
People feel entitled against the question. We've created the platforms, right? Social media. I can't post anything that says I love the Bronx. I'll have 13 people being like, the Bronx is shit. People have this, like, these newfound muscles where they get offended by everything. They can speak out on everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to it's another.
Everybody's
crossing.
triggered.
Everybody's triggered.
They're called
I-
keyboard warriors.
Keyboard. Oh yeah.
Yeah, keyboard warriors. Do you know I call them keyboard bullies?
Pretty much. It's the
You
same,
know, I
it's
was
the
in
same thing.
Ohio and I was in a restaurant and I was talking to a group of men and women, okay? And when I got up to leave, I had such a good conversation with everybody.
Yeah.
Everything was going great. And I just got up to leave and I just like, all right, guys, see you later, guys. All right, see you later, guys. Like, I had such a great time. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye, guys. And I said, guys. And this is the second time I've heard this happen. They repeated, guys.
Who said this? A woman said
Who?
it?
Yeah. The group of people I was talking to in Ohio. And
didn't
I
hear
felt
this.
so bad. Like, I really didn't know what to say. I was just being nice. Like, all right, guys, meaning guys to me or girls means like the whole gang.
Guys means everybody.
But they're individuals, I guess, and that's what the sensitivity
listen.
comes in.
You
Yeah.
know what's funny that you say that? I say that all the time too. And now when I say that, I almost cringe at myself at the end. I'm like, oh, is this going to be the time somebody says something?
It happened to me, and I really did feel so uncomfortable, and I felt bad. And when I left, I was kicking myself in the ass, going, "Well, I should have said goodbye, gang."
I'd be more offended if you said I was in a gang. No, was it
Gang?
guys, girls?
But-
How about this? Bye everybody, and however you identify.
But here is the
Is this how far it's going?
It's gone to the point where it's insane now. It's insane. I can't take it no more. And people are just afraid to say anything. And when you do that, you stop art. You stop art. And if somebody says something that's distasteful, okay, it is. But what about comedy? When years ago when comedy was just brutal, man. Brutal. And you know, there's some comics. Look, you know how I feel. You guys know how I feel about certain comics. I love Bill Burr. Bill Burr is like my God. Bill Burr's like my God. Kristen Stefano. Chappelle. I mean, Sebastian.
Maniscalco.
Well, Sebastian stays safe, but
Not
funny.
this last special.
No, he wasn't.
He went
I
a
didn't
little.
see that.
He went a
love
little.
Sebastian.
he went a little-
The great thing about
I think
Sebastian
Sebastian is one of the best.
is he is one of the best, and one of the best at keeping it pretty clean and keeping it funny
And edgy.
and edgy too, which is great.
This last one, yeah.
Bill Burr and Chappelle, I mean, they'll take chances, and they still make it funny.
Bill Burr doesn't give a shit, though.
No, but do you
He
think
just goes for
Do
it.
you think really Bill Burr hates women? Of course he doesn't.
No.
That's not true.
That's his act.
That's his act.
But you have to be a little
But
intelligent
I don't
to
think
know
his
it's
act
an
is
act.
even I hate women. I think the way he delivers things about women, there's no hate there. It's you're identifying, you're seeing something,
Right.
and you're making fun of
But
it.
Why
here-
are they saying
I
Bill
don't
Burr
think
hates
No,
women?
No, but I know
some
Chappelle has
people
a
have
big
said
thing.
that.
The LGBTQ community goes after Chappelle
And
for his
you think
lungs.
he hates them?
Mostly
No,
the
he
trans,
doesn't.
I believe. Mostly the trans
Yeah, the
community.
trans. And David
Goes after
and
Chappelle.
Chappelle is,
Really?
is
Yeah.
brilliant and saying something
Oh.
and making it funny.
And the way it's brilliant.
You know, Jerry Seinfeld said something that was really brilliant. He said, the more offensive the joke, the funnier it has to be.
has to
Wow.
be, right.
And you know what? Those guys on that term deliver.
Right.
You know what? Somebody like a Chappelle or a Burr, in my opinion, they're not just funny. They're also very, very, very smart.
Very smart.
Very smart.
They don't
Yeah.
talk about something unless they can break it down for you and they
And
know every detail of it.
You have to
Yes.
be smart. And it's all in the delivery. There's a reason why they say it. When I even make the Will Smith joke in my set, I'll say, guys, you know what? I think things went too far. Can we agree? Can we agree the comedy shouldn't be censored? I'll say something to reel them in or to gauge how they're thinking, and then I cross lines. But lines that it's so amazing. If I make a joke, which I mostly make fun of myself, comedians make fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Do you think your comedy would be different if you could say anything you want? Would it be different? Or you're censoring yourself?
I did censor myself with a few
Yeah.
things where I've looked back and go, all right, I'm not going to do this joke anymore. But it also
No,
doesn't
when you're
represent
writing
me.
from the beginning, when you're writing, are you censoring like your
I think,
real
I
authentic
had
comedy?
some great jokes that I said I can't do them.
Wow.
Well, people are really blurring the lines between comedy and hate speech now, which is crazy to me. There should be a fine line between the two of them, but right now it's a gray area.
There's a comedian, I've mentioned her before on the podcast, Miss Pat. She loves All in the Family. She's a black woman, and she loves Archie Bunker and the way he plays that role. And she's like, I wish people could understand that what he's doing in that role is the opposite of celebrating hate. It's the way he does it that makes you deliver to make him see how dumb he is in the role.
Yes.
Same thing with The Office with Steve Carell. And that's how he can get away with all the jokes that he makes in that show is just because he's so dumb
Right.
that it's funny and it shows how ignorant people
Yes,
can be.
but could
It's
The Office
comedy.
be a hit now?
I don't think it could succeed.
And
be a
also
success
the
now.
Family
No.
Guy.
But
Family Guy too.
But they're replaying them. People are becoming fans of The Office now just because it's on Netflix.
Why they had racist stuff in it?
I mean, I don't
They
know.
did.
I never watched
Yeah,
it.
there was
neither.
the second episode was called Diversity Day, where they all wore a race on their head, and they had to guess what the other race was based on stereotypes.
You remember?
To me, that's
You remember
Brilliant.
Chappelle when he did when he had a show? He did that thing. They were drafting the NFL. Each player, there was the blacks, the Jews, oh my God, that was hysterical. You could never do that today.
No, you couldn't.
It was hysterical.
Key and Peele. I mean, they did some great jokes.
Oh my God, they dress up like white women.
Who?
Key and Peele.
Oh my
They're
God.
hysterical.
I mean, the things,
Brilliant.
I mean, the jokes are so funny on both ends. The way they make fun of like, I think a white person saying
Right.
black names the football player names, how people
Right.
name their children. I mean, hysterical.
They're genius, actually.
How is that? It's so funny. How could you? You know what? This trigger stuff is.
Jokes should be jokes unless they're really malintended. Because if you go anywhere else in the world, like caricatures of other races or religions or whatever, if you go anywhere else in the world, it's funny. And if they do it right, it's tasteful and stuff like that. But here, I mean, if you even try to make it funny or think that it's going to be funny, you could get canceled tomorrow.
But I do feel like there's a little pushback now. And listen, I work with
Yes.
guys like Joey Diaz, right? Like I can look at Joey and go, there's no way. He's never getting canceled. Joey can cross every line possible, you think, just listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's so authentic and he's so in his own lane and he's in his own category.
He's got his own universe.
But I've
Joey.
got his own universe, and not to ever compare myself to, but I get inspired by some of the things he does. I don't have the same personality, but I do say to myself, and I have a joke that I did. Kathrine was there at Sony Hall, and I go, I'm going to do this joke. And it's a joke that would cross lines where I say that my friend's son told me there was a kid in the class, and I say the kid's name.
Oh, yeah.
And uproar, like, and I mentioned a black name or a black person or this, or my friend who's half Puerto Rican and half Haitian, and it's not that demographic that gets upset. It will be white people that'll get upset at me.
Oh, that's interesting.
For crossing. But they don't. That for some reason, however that joke is delivered, however I wrote it, or maybe the misdirection where you don't see me going with it, I've never gotten pushback. But it's really, and not to give my own horn.
Go ahead.
It's very well constructed. The way I deliver it is, you can tell it comes from a good place. People are still going to get offended. I mean, somebody will still at some point.
But are there jokes that you want to tell that you can't?
There have been jokes that I've wanted to say that I know I can't. I say them to you. So I'll say, oh my God, I want to say this right now, but I can't.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'll tell it to you
That's
guys
terrible.
off camera, because one of the guys is going to be a guest here, or hopefully be a guest here. And but I'm going to tell you the joke I wanted to say about him, but I can't.
So,
I won't even say it here.
Tara, it's interesting that you say that because there's this video on YouTube. There's this guy who it's a white guy. He dresses up in a traditional Chinese outfit. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
Where he wears the hat, the robe, and all that. And he goes around asking random people, he's like, what do you think of my outfit? All of the Chinese people from China or Asia, wherever he was trying to portray himself from, they're all like, this is so beautiful. It's so authentic. I love it. I love how it looks. You did a great job.
So
with
the
it."
actual culture.
Right, the culture accepted it, said he did a beautiful job. When he asked white people, they said it's offended. You should be ashamed of yourself. Take it off. So that just goes to prove your point.
Everybody I make fun of, the people who I'm making fun of do never get offended by my jokes. It's other people who feel like, I'm sorry, are you an advocate? Are you a speaker? Like, do you know anything about me? People will make a judgment off of this podcast, off of a video I do, or anything, off of a movie you play. It's like, oh, that must be the way he is. Chazz is a gangster. Like, no.
No, I'm not a gangster.
Right. Like,
no, I never been arrested. I went to college.
Right.
Thank you.
But that's the perception.
That's the perception I have.
And people want to get offended.
Why do you think that is? So say you took a new comic starting out and you put them on the same stage with the same crowd. If Joey Diaz went up there and performed his set, that's borderline
you can't
cancelable.
count Joey. Joey's in another
in
planet.
another
What do you
universe.
think makes them different? Why do you think a new comedian couldn't do the same
I wouldn't
set?
want to be a new. To be honest with you, I'm so glad I started when I started, because now I have at least the ability to write and craft and think and assess. I would never want to start now. That's
right.
what people are doing.
Right.
They're ruining the art of comedy.
Yeah.
This all started just before the lockdown. During the lockdown.
Yeah.
During the
During
lockdown.
the lockdown.
I'm going to mention two comics, and your kids will even correct you, right? Wouldn't your daughter?
Oh, my
even?
kids correct me all the time.
Right. I know that.
Yeah, all the time.
Because it's a generational thing, and people have to understand too that it's never meant. There's nothing is always everybody wants to be like, oh, it's ill intended. There is certain words in your vernacular you've used for a long time that you're just saying with zero ill intent to be insults.
Right.
But I just worked with two comics that we should talk about. Josh Wolf and Colin Quinn. And Josh Wolf does a joke about how somebody got offended that he used an accent in a joke. And he's like, but it's important to the storyline.
They got offended he used an accent?
Because it wasn't his. And then Colin Quinn, I believe it was in one of his specials, he tried to tell a joke that would be politically correct. And he never got to the joke because he was always correcting himself as he delivered it.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean, if you've never seen it online, it should be viral at this point. I'm actually going to go look for it and post it. Where Colin's like, so I was walking past the store and my friend who was Mexican, how do you know he's Mexican? I'm sorry, my friend, well, he is Mexican, but okay, so then he had to change that. And then he's like, and then he goes, well, why were you walking? And then what about people who can't walk? And then like, he had to stop the whole joke. And then he just goes to show you like how you're ruining.
Well, everybody
That's
gets
brilliant.
offended.
Colin Quinn is.
That's Colin Quinn.
brilliant.
Everybody gets so offended. It's really sad that I don't get offended. If I heard somebody say,
I don't get offended
what
over
happens
anything.
if somebody does an Italian accent? How do you guys feel?
That
I think
doesn't
it's
bother me.
funny. Look at Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy came out and did a Rocco when he did what was the title of that show?
Raw?
He was like, he did the Italians guys coming out of Rocky. We thought that was funny. I loved Eddie Murphy. I felt like my culture was being included in his act.
And, and
I knew because I'm emotionally intelligent, it wasn't coming from an ill-intended place. It's coming from a good place.
It was funny. And it was funny. Eddie was funny.
It was so funny. If you've never seen Eddie Murphy Raw, go see it.
But can I say this? See how she just embraced it and loved it? Here's the problem, and I'm going to say this, and we may have to take it out of the episode. Italians fall in a really funny place with this. And I've said this before, and I've never said it on the podcast, but here's the deal.
Go ahead.
And I know it is for comedians. You guys would know how it is for acting and getting cast in roles that are meant for Italians. Italians, when white was cool, when being white was cool, however many years ago, Italians were too ethnic. Italians were too ethnic. You have to do an Italian comedy show or Italian this or comedians were Italians were too ethnic. Now that not ethnic is cool, well, Italians, you're too white.
Yeah,
you're not diverse enough for us.
Same thing.
What? Italians are not too white.
Well, to some people.
It was the same thing with the Irish before the Italians. The Irish got phased out for the Italians, and then it's just like an ongoing cycle.
But
let me
it's
tell
like
you,
I'm ethnic. Like I'm an ethnic person. I have a joke about it.
When I walk into a Starbucks one time, and the kid behind the counter was like, "Hey, where you from? New York?" I was in LA. He's like, "Where you from? You from New York? You Italian?" And I was just like,
whoa. You imagine doing that. Imagine doing that to an African American.
But you want to know why?
Imagine doing that to a Jewish guy.
Oh, no.
An Irish guy.
Could I just say
Italians, we get abused.
But could I tell you something? We could also take it. Because I thought it was wait, let me finish. I was slightly like, ooh, that's weird. But I also knew where he was coming from and what he meant. Yeah. I didn't go, oh my God, I'm so insulted.
Right.
I thought it was weird and obnoxious.
It was obnoxious.
But I also wasn't, oh my God, I'm so offended. Where's your manager? I need to get you fired.
We have thicker skin.
I got my coffee and I left.
Yeah.
Well, so do you remember this a few years ago? Somebody called Chris Cuomo Fredo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
off
recent.
The rails about that, and he said that's the equivalent to being called the N-word.
Who said that?
Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo.
Well, Cuomo is, you know what? There's a great comic. I forgot who it was. I want to give him credit for the line because it's not. I'm not coming up with it. And he said when people go, that's equivalent to the N-word, and he goes, that's bullshit. He goes, you know why it is? He goes, because I can't say the N-word, but I can say this word.
Right.
I can say Fredo, but I can't say the N-word.
Right.
So it's not equivalent to the N-word.
Right.
Okay, so. Chris Cuomo was wrong.
I don't think it's as offensive.
No, I don't.
Fredo is a character in a great movie, and I know, but to say the N-word, no,
it's not.
No,
it's not the same at all.
Not even in the same.
And
realm.
we can agree that that's not the same.
Don't even try it. No.
But it's just a matter of like I put out a video the other day because I emailed a comedy club booker for my available dates, and he goes, well, I'll let you know when I'm looking for an Italian comedy show. I'm gonna go, and I made a video about it.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't this? And people were like, Tara, do you realize you can't put any other race or ethnicity in that sentence without without people being in an uproar that they insulted you that way? And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
You know what I do? You know what I do when I meet, because I meet a lot of people like she did. They'll walk by me. Oh, hey, Chazz Palminteri, how you doing? I go, excuse me, do I talk like that? I'm just curious. Do I talk like that?
No.
Do you hear me go, hey, how you doing? Do I talk like that? I want to make sure I'm correct. And they just go, no, what? But don't do that. Don't do that.
I cringe with the double
Sometimes
negatives.
I could tell if a guy's trying to make fun of me at my expense, I call him on the table.
See,
Fuck you.
That's where you would get insulted, and that's rightfully so. But
Yeah.
if somebody's doing that as a joke, I mean, it's in a different playing field altogether.
Yeah, I was in the four. I don't want to say the four. Okay, it was the Four Seasons on the road. I was on the road, not in New York. And the guy goes to me. I'm online, and I was next. I was next. And he goes, "Yo, Chazz Palminteri." He goes, "Hey, how's the mafia?" Now there's people all around me. He goes, "This guy's in the and he's like the guy behind the desk. So I go, yes. Wow. He goes, how's the mafia? Something like that. He was excited to see me. I go, excuse me, do you think I'm in the mafia? Does anybody here think I'm in the mafia? And the whole place was like, boom.
He had a shrink.
Yeah, it
I
I
said, no, I'm just curious.
He had a shrink.
I'm just curious. Do you think I spent time in jail, folks? No, we know you're an actor. I never been in jail. Have you been in jail? Manager comes out. He goes, what's the problem?
Oh, wow.
So the manager said to me he was going to fire the guy. I said, no, don't fire him.
Wow.
The man's got a job. He may have a family. Don't fire him. But I said, but you know what? He'll never do that again to anybody else.
Oof.
He'll never do that again to anybody else.
That's right.
I think too, Italians, and I'm gonna have to stand a little more united. We come at each other so much. We get offended by each other, and we're not as united as we should be. All other ethnicities stick up for each other. And I think Chazz and I talked about this on the one-on-one, but like if I post a video about like Italian words and phrases, I say people will get offended. Oh, other Italians come at each other.
Right.
Like, where I don't see other ethnicities do that. I think we kind of have to stand a little more united. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
I don't know. I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think Italians do stay together. And I think if anything happened where it was an attack on the Italian culture and ethnicity, I think that we would all get together real quick.
I don't know. Italians fight a lot on social media. From the platform I'm talking about, from the trigger fingers are all.
But could
Italians
I say something? I think
Italians.
that's an individual thing, not really an Italian thing. And I think that's in any culture because I'm a fanatic about reading comments on everything that I look at.
Yeah,
I
you
look
do.
at the comments. I want to see where people are coming from. And I see it with a lot of different cultures. I went on John Leguizamo's page because he's been on ranting a little bit about certain things.
Yeah.
And I read the comments to see how are people taking it, you know? And I just think it's a personal opinion thing. It's not I don't think it's an Italian thing.
The gravy sauce, like it gets crazy. People get very
Sebastian
over silly
Maniscalco,
things.
Yeah.
He makes fun of Italians and his father. I think it's hysterical.
I do too.
I think it's absolutely.
That's my favorite part when he says that.
With him and his father, I think, and I don't, you know what? And I've seen people go, "Oh, that's why I don't want to be Italian." I go, "Don't you see how funny it is, you fucking idiot?"
You know, I'm telling you.
You get people that'll say that kind of
Yes,
thing.
the ethnic comics, all their fan base, love them, never get offended. Italian comics, we take it to another level when we're getting offended by people.
Hey, look.
All right.
I don't know. We're supposed to.
Questions.
We got on it. We had no questions. We're going to do another show about neighborhood logic. We got onto the Will Smith.
Well, this
question.
actually was neighborhood
This was
logic.
neighborhood
Our
logic.
opinions on it.
It was our opinions on it. This has been a great show. Give me this thing here. Look, don't forget ChazzPalminteri.net. I really want to thank the great comedian Tara Cannistraci. Am I saying it right?
Cannistraci.
Cannistraci.
Okay.
And of course,
Next episode.
of course, one of the great actors today, Kathrine Narducci.
Let me see that paper you're looking at.
Oh yes, go ahead.
Can I hold it up like the card girls in the ring? The saddest thing in life is wasted talent. This is one of my favorite quotes in life.
Oh well, thank you.
I know many people
You say it,
that
yeah.
it breaks my heart. I see their talent wasted. They don't utilize it or use it.
Right.
a
And
good
I was putting the
reminder.
card up because you can get this on my website, chazzpalminteri.net.
Signed?
Yes, signed.
Beautiful,
Signed. Actual
beautiful.
signed by me. I
Beautiful.
make sure I
It's a good-
sign every one.
Beautiful.
Good to put it on your window or your mirror in the morning.
Yes.
Remind yourself.
Don't forget my shows. The next show coming up is April 1st. April 1st, you got to go to Atlantic City. I'm going to have a big show there. The one-man show it was voted best show of the year in Las Vegas. It was a hit on Broadway, a big hit in Vegas. So, if you want to know the dates, go to chazzpalminteri.net. Go to my website. Now You Just Can't Leave. Got all these great T-shirts. And guys, we'll see you guys soon. All right?
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.